Students, here's this week's homework. 2 questions. First one, using figure 1, assess the business relevance for farmers of the changes in the price elasticity of supply of pure tea between 2003 and 2006. So it's a 2-sided question. The question focuses business relevance. So you're going to be talking about how a business can use it, and if it's relevant, it's going to tell them how to become more profitable. If it's not useful, then it won't be effective for the business to use it. Of the changes in price elasticity of supply. So what's going on between 2003 and 2006? It says must include calculations, so you're going to need to be calculating percentage change in quantity supply over percentage change in price. Next question, discuss the extent to which production and consumption of pure tea is an example of positive externalities. So again, 2-sided. However, this one's going to need a conclusion with a justification in there of whether or not it is or it isn't a positive externality. As it's saying production and consumption, you could look at this from the farmer's point of view and the people that are consuming this tea. So the case study itself, tea market crash leaves a bitter taste. Chinese are well known for their love of tea. Particular popular type is pure tea, pleasantly aromatic brew, which is claimed to reduce cholesterol. So we've already got a positive private benefit there. Aid weight loss, again private benefit, and even cure hangovers. If we are going to think about these as external benefits, we have to think about the external benefits of a healthier workforce. It's for this reason that China's rich middle classes and tea drinkers worldwide have increased their demand for this wonder product. In 2007, the top quality pure tea was selling for a massive $150 a pound in weight. So you've got some information about how it's beneficial to businesses already here, but a nice little bit of evaluation here that it's top quality tea. So there's an it depends upon about whether or not you're a farmer who's producing low or high quality. So why is the price so high? The main reason was on the supply side. For a good number of years, demand for top quality pure tea has increased at a faster rate than supply. So it's telling you here that there is a significant increase in demand. As a result, prices rose. Consequently, more and more farmers switched from growing rice and corn to staple food crops. So there's an indication here that there's a reduction in supply of these other crops to planting and producing pure tea. Other farmers dug up other types of tea bush and replaced them with pure tea, so supply was increasing, but not quite as fast as a rate as increase in demand and price. So it's saying that there's an effect of the price mechanism there. As demand's going up, if there's an incentive from the higher price, that farmers are switching food crops and other tea crops to this type of tea, pure tea. Also on the supply side of the market, irresponsible wholesalers hung onto their seemingly precious stocks. So we've actually got a reduction in, an artificial reduction in capacity. So it looks like the capacity is being artificially reduced, trying to push prices higher. It's simple principle of economics that if demand is increasing and supply is inelastic, prices should continue to rise. The table below shows the results of this. So you use this information to calculate out. You've got your percentage changes in price, percentage changes in supply. So you're dividing 3 by 5, 15 by 20, 40 by 25 and 60 by 30. What you should see is that initially these are inelastic changes. Or at least the first one is, because the percentage change in supply is less than the percentage change in price. Again, for this second one, percentage change in supply is less than the percentage change in price. So again, this one will be inelastic. But as you go up, then the percentage change in supply becomes greater than percentage change in price. So this one will be elastic, and this one will be more elastic still. At the beginning of 2009, the market crashed. Wholesale merchants, where most of the tea is grown, were grateful to get just US $40 per pound. So it's gone from over $100 to $40, the markets collapsed. One reason was an increased number of farmers adding to the supply at a much faster rate than before, and it was not helped by stable demand, partly as a consequence of increasing doubts over the benefits. So it did mention earlier on about benefits of pure tea, but now you've got some information that maybe those positive benefits to people's health aren't as true. All is not lost. The provincial government has been encouraging pure tea farmers to destroy their bushes and revert to producing corn and rice. To encourage them to do this, generous subsidies have been made available for producing these crops. The objective of this policy has been to stabilise markets, not only for pure tea, but also for corn and rice, both of which remain central to the staple diet of the local population. So there's a bit of information there that the switch away from corn and rice was bad for the local population, but also that markets have stabilised, or they're trying to stabilise those markets, so to try and maintain prices in both markets. But also there's a mention here of subsidies that are going to be given to those other farmers. So coming back to that first question, business relevance for farmers, well, if you've got a change between inelastic and elastic demand, and at the same time the price is falling, then you could say it's relevant because it allows them to move back to corn or rice. So if it's becoming less profitable because of that elasticity, or because the market is becoming more elastic, then producers are making less profit, so it is relevant that they can use it. Why it might not be relevant is this type of product is agricultural. So once you have planted certain tea bushes, in terms of irrational behaviour, you may be facing inertia. So if you've planted those crops, you might not be able to. So it might be an ability reason why it's not relevant. You might not be able to switch to or back so easily to corn or rice. And you might also have invested money, and that might be why there's inertia. If you've planted those tea plants, it's a cost. You might want to try and recoup that cost. Also, if you're already in the market and you are the highest quality producer of tea, then you might want to stay in the market and hope that the people who entered the market more recently will leave the market. There's also things like economies of scale that may affect you as well. So you may be a very large tea producer and you've gained economies of scale, so your costs are low, or it might just be that that's your specialism as well. Discuss the extent to which the production and consumption of pure tea is an example of positive externalities. Well, on one side you're going to want the positive externality graph, but you might, as a balancing point, look at it as a negative externality. In terms of positive externality, you've got it in terms of the health of the local population. Also, because the price was rising, you're going to have economic growth in those areas where it was grown. So the specific area that it mentions, there will be wider spending by farmers. There will be further multipliers as people spend their income in that local area. So there's economic benefits and health benefits. The third party in terms of the health benefits, potentially the government and taxpayers, so less money to spend for those people consuming those goods. The reason it might be a negative externality comes from that kind of opportunity cost, or the reduction in production of staple foods, so that there's a negative in terms of the price in other markets is going to go up, and those people will be negatively affected by the market for tea increasing. In terms of consumption, you could also mention on the side against that there is evidence that there's potentially been an information failure, so that those benefits actually don't exist. You might also look at the fact that it seems to be that the majority of the benefits, and this could be for your conclusion, the majority of the benefits seem to be private benefits. So your conclusion could be that actually it's just a product and all the benefits are private benefits, not necessarily any external benefits to other people. You may also evaluate in terms of time that there may need to be kind of more research or more information done to find out whether or not these benefits actually do exist. And you could also argue that it seems that the level of pure tea consumption is maybe too high, so there's not a positive externality, as it may have health benefits, but the amount consumed needs to be just as high as to not affect other markets.